1,800 horsepower.
Yeah, so?
In a Supra.
Yeah, so?
That you want to drive on the street.
Yeah.
Hey, what's this?
That's either going to be a G and arrot, or possibly a C and this is carrots. Ooh. Turbocharger.
Good to see you at the right car. I have an idea of what we can do tonight on the Supra.
Is it going to be something more interesting than buffing my headlights? Because knowing you...
Come on, look, come over to the to-do board. I'll show you what's going on.
All right.
What I was thinking was, we've got the engine in its final location now. Everything's hunky-dory. Radiator. Let's get the cooling sorted. Let's get the radiator in up the front, because it's right at the front of the engine bay. Let's get that right up there, right up where it needs to be. Because we're using the stock mount.
Oh my god, it's so boring.
And then we can get the hoses lined up, and we can line up the hoses right to the engine and where it goes. Because we're not doing once we go through all of that.
What?
Radiator hoses.
Yeah, what about them?
That's what we're going to do next.
Oh, okay, yeah, sure, yeah, cool. Hey, I think that might be them turning up right now. Do you hear the door?
Have you already ordered the radiator?
Yeah, I guess so.
Brilliant, let's go then. How cool is it that the radiator's here already? I think that's so good. Maybe it's...
Now that we got that out the way, let's do turbos. I don't know if you can hear it over the microphone, but it's starting to rain outside. I hope Shane found some shelter or something. Because his keys are still in the office. He can't get into his car. Garrett, not carrot. That is a, must be the turbine housing. That would be yield turbo. Got a knife. Shane's like, let me in. I've been waiting to see one of these turbos in the flesh. It's Garrett's new G series. So it comes after their GTX Gen 2. It's their whole new design, so they've changed the core, they've changed the turbine housing, everything. These are G35 900s, so what that means is they're the same sort of frame as a GDX 35, but a 900 horsepower rated compressor. Let's get the turbine housing on it. Give you all the V-band clamps, because it's an entirely V-band turbo, so in and out of the turbine housing. Oh. And the other new feature, all of the G-Series turbos come with stainless steel turbine housings. So no more rust, look at that. Stainless steel, I love it. I'll have to figure out which V-band. I'm gonna say it's the big one. And I'll pop that down over the core. Yeah, looks good. I'm so happy that they've changed to a V-band to couple the turbine housing on as well, because before it was 6 bolts and they were really painful to get to. Like, there was always 1 or 2 that were just super awkward. Now the whole turbine housing attaches just with a V-band and a single nut. It's so much better. And they are, you know, they're a much shorter turbo in terms of how far the outlet comes out and the size of the core and stuff. They've really focused on making the turbo as compact as they possibly can. And to think, I mean, that 900 horsepower, it's just unbelievable. Yeah.
Look, really funny, but it's raining and it's been half an hour and you've been ignoring me. And can I come back in now?
Well, as long as you promise that I'm in charge from now on.
As long as you're having good ideas, I'm fine with it.
I've got great ideas. So get back in here.
Finally, about time.
So if you had to take one guess at what I'd choose to do, what is it?
Oh, turbos.
Turbos. And here it is.
Turbo.
It's Garrett's G35-900, which means 900 horsepower rated. This is their current generation turbo, billet compressor and stainless housing and awesome. Awesomeness.
I mean, that's nice.
Yeah.
It's actually really nice. It's really nice, but
nice.
We've got this little bit of text down the bottom here, somewhere around our knees. Yeah, not really here, but here in the picture. Here, it says 1,000 horsepower. I mean, are we just rounding up now?
No, wait.
What?
Here's the other one.
Oh, right. Wow. No, hang on. No. 900 times 2, 1,800 horsepower.
Yeah, so?
In a Supra.
Yeah, so?
That you want to drive on the street.
Yeah.
Directly to the emergency room.
Oh man, I can put it in like low boost mode or something.
So only like 1,200 horsepower.
Yeah.
Right, so again, you turn the key, you put it in gear, straight to the emergency department.
You're no fun. Looks. Can we get on with like figuring out where these things are gonna fit?
Well, on the roof, I assume.
Okay. Grab a turbo each.
Worked really well.
Who put flange in my bumper? Okay, so my first thought is putting them beside the engine.
Yeah, I don't like your odds there.
No, I mean, even if I got it down there somehow, like I'd probably have to put them in before the engine went in, and then like the steering shaft has to go through there and stuff, so that's just never gonna work. That kind of only leaves one other spot because obviously the radiator and stuff's gonna go there. I mean, it'd be good if we knew where the radiator actually sat, but nobody's thought to put that in yet.
Wouldn't it just?
But like over here, sort of like, almost like where you put a big 2J one, it sort of looks like an LS when people do the LS, you know, twin turbo LSs.
Yeah.
And sort of like that, and one on the other side.
Well, that would work. I mean, obviously we'll have to clear this fuse box. But...
Yeah, I mean, there's a bunch of problems with it because there's wiring here, there's wiring there.
Yep.
And obviously it's going to be really close to the paint here. It's going to be really close to the paint of the bonnet. It's going to be super hard to stop stuff from melting if we put it there. So I don't know about that. I don't know if that's a great idea. There's also not much room to like put an air filter on them. Like it's almost right up behind the headlight there, so.
Oh, you know what? These headlights are pretty junk anyway. How about we just get rid of them and stick the turbos there?
Yeah, nice one.
Oh.
You can't, it's just not gonna, you won't be able to put fans on the radiator if they go there.
No.
Maybe if we have a look from underneath and just see if there's some way we can sort of tuck them up somewhere else. Well, I see some of the Commodore guys like go up near the transmission, but I mean, they've definitely got way more space than we do.
Yeah.
We got nothing there. So there's going to be an alternator here and an aircon compressor there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, even that could almost work.
They're getting pretty low though.
But there's just one problem. That is exactly where the sway bar goes.
Hey, Teresa. I think I've got an idea, mate.
What?
I think this might work. There's a spot here that might have just enough space.
Shane, can you grow up for just a second?
No, seriously. Look. That's my head. My head fits in there. Look at the size of the turbo.
Well, your head is like 5 times the size of the turbo.
Right. Sure. So we've got enough room for a turbo. Seriously. Look, that's your turbo. We can easily get it into that spot.
Huh. Well, what about the other side? What does that look like? Going through the front there. And it seems like a far away spot from the engine, but it's not really. I mean, you can see the exhaust ports in the head, like right there. So the runners just need to go zoop into the turbo there. It's like barely any longer than your average exhaust manifold anyway, so.
No, it'll be nice and efficient.
Yeah, I don't mind it. There's going to be a few challenges to overcome to really make it work. I'm going to get on with like mocking up some manifold gear and we'll see how it looks. Alright, so what we've got here are some most excellent manifold materials from Hypertune Australia. They've kindly sent all this stuff across to help us make these manifolds. Now, this product is actually really quite unique. See, most people when they make manifolds, pretty much almost everyone on the planet, they use one of these two sizes. And it can be a little frustrating at times because sometimes that's a little bit too small and sometimes that's a little bit too big. And there's no size in between, and these represent a massive difference in flow. So you usually end up compromising and just getting a size that's, you know, I guess gonna work, but not really what you wanted. But Hypertune have come along and made a runner size which is in between the two. So it doesn't have a particular number, but you can see it's a little bigger than the small one and a little smaller than the big one. And when we measure the size of the ports and such in the V12, and on top of that, consider how much power we usually get out of these and out of these, we think these runners are like really quite well suited to this project. So we've ordered all of these materials so we can whack this manifold together. What we've actually got is 3 different radiuses of elbow. So if I put them down here, this one's a 70mm radius, that one's a 50, and that one's a 35. So we've got the choice of doing long, gentle bends, or very tight bends, or extremely tight bends, or combinations of the two. So we can start gentle and then wrap hard, or we can come out the manifold really tight and then go into something more gentle. So pretty much everything is an option here. They've also given us these wonderful collectors. I thought a long time about whether to use one of these cast collectors or whether to use a billet one. The billet ones do look very pretty, but they are really expensive. There's some things about these cast ones which are really nice. I really believe that they've managed to get a shape that no one's really doing in the CNC machined ones. Most of the CNC ones I see are just straight runners bored all the way through, because that's the most practical way of doing it. But you can see that they've actually introduced some shape into this to really transition from a runner coming in to the turbo entry. Same with the wastegate outlet. The way they've molded in to 2 different runners there, you really don't see that on a billet collector. So I'm really pleased to be running these, to be honest, and even though it doesn't look as flash as a CNC machined one on the outside, the fact that it's an identical finish to the runners does actually please me. You know, it does make me feel happy inside to not have that transition that goes to a different finish. But before we go like welding all this stuff together, what I actually want to do is prototype the manifold. We've prototyped pretty much every other part on this car. We've plastic printed or whatever, and I wanted to do the same with this because there's so many possible ways we can do these exhaust manifolds, and if you just start welding, then you're kind of stuck on the first path you go down. Whereas if we prototype, we can change our mind halfway through, we can make the whole thing and then say, nah, you know what, it would have been better if we did this, and we can make some changes on the fly before we set it in stone and weld these pieces together. So I'm going to hit up that 3D printer again and see what we can come up with.
So Tristan's left me alone to pull out the pulleys, but I figured it's radiator time. All right. So while Tristan's off being exhausting, next thing apparently, we've got to get rid of the pulleys. We've got to pull them out. I should be talking about what these are or what they're for, but I don't really know. So Tristan will probably just voice over this bit. Hey, there we go. All right. Well, that came off in the end and it was easier than I expected. I don't actually know why we had to take it off. But let's go interrupt whatever these Tristan's doing and show them this.
This is Vern. And this is his ears. It's Vern ears. This is why I wanted the pulley. A lot of things on this engine have proven to be super similar to the 1UZ, 2UZ V8 engines. Like, they share a lot of parts, and I'm really hopeful that the harmonic balancer can be one of them, because there's a lot more aftermarket options available for the UZ series engines. So the first thing we need to know is whether the snout diameter is the same or different. If it's different, we're kind of boned.
Oh, God damn it.
No.
It's 38. It is literally 3 millimeters bigger.
Wow.
Wow. Well, that sucks.
Man, there's so many different ways we can approach this, but annoyingly, none of them are easy.
No.
So screw this. I'm going to go back to those exhaust manifolds.
Oh well, I'll see if I can come up with something all by myself then. You know, I'm being left unsupervised.
All right, now what we've got here is about 2 weeks of solid printing. We have made a plastic pipe for every single bit of steel pipe we've got in exactly the same dimensions, the same radiuses. So here's all our long radius bends here, our medium radius bends here, and our short radiuses there. Look at those little buggers, they're so cool. And we've done them in 45 sections as well, so we can simulate as if we're chopping the steel pipes in half, if we want to do 45s, or, I'll get this, hey! So we've got 45-degree sections, or we can combine them together for full 90s. What we've done is gotten a little bit out of hand. The first ones were just sort of clicked together Lego, and I thought that was going to be good enough, but wasn't really happy with them in the end. And what we've ended up doing here is continue to refine the design more and more, so it's not just clicked together like Lego anymore. It's actually got these little tabs and a little groove and little tabs there, and we pop them together like that, give them a turn, and it's locked. That's it. We've done the same with the flanges as well. There's our steel flange, of course, which is probably the most beautiful thing I've ever seen in my life. And here is the plastic one. And here is the other plastic one. So of course, you know, we did make it so that the plastic ones can sort of clip in here just as the steel ones would. That's what the steel one is going to be like. The metal pipe here, I'll show you. The metal pipe literally fits into that groove, quite snugly, mind you. You know, it's quite a tight fit. So we can just run a weld around there. And same with the plastic one, it just pops into that and it's pretty firm. But with the weight of the runner, after we've made the whole thing, it's probably gonna pop out, right? So, to fix that, we've made this temporary flange, which has all these mounting bosses on them. So what we can do is come along and actually click our runners like that into them. Boop, 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 there we go. Runner can't come off. And if we want to really lock them into place, we've got these holes here that we can actually send a bolt through into the plastic and actually lock it in position so it can't move. But I don't know if we'll need to use that. That's just sort of a just-in-case design. So with all of that, we should be able to make a complete plastic manifold with a metal collector. But this is the last trick. This little size here, we've made that specifically that size so that it can actually click into the metal of the collector. There you go. That's actually quite a tight fit. Ooh, there we go. Look at that. So when we get to the end of it, we can actually click the plastic pipes into this, if it turns out that way, oof, and have it complete. And if I get really, really ridiculous, I'll actually print up a plastic collector, but I don't think so. I think we've gotten out of hand enough. I'm tired of talking about it. I'm going to make a manifold. All right, so it's been about a week. I've been fiddling around with this manifold a bit more, and I've actually run into a little bit of a problem with this runner, and I'll show you why. So what happened was I was looking at the idea of running the original power steering pump on the other side of the engine, and I noticed something that's going to really stuff up my plans. See, the runner at the moment I've designed to fit through here, but when we come around to this side, that runner position, if we were to replicate it, there is actually a big chunk of cylinder head in the way. This casting area here, it doesn't exist on the other side. So the only way we can run the runner out of the front cylinder on this bank is to send the runner backwards instead of forwards, and that'll make this side look completely different to that side. Little bit of a mistake, but it's great that our first manifold was plastic and not metal. So let's mess around with those pipes and see if we can make it work. Oh, and the other problem is that I keep having trouble with this steel collector falling off because it's just like it's barely retained on there and it's pretty heavy. So naturally, I had to make a plastic one. So what we'll do is we'll transfer the plastic one over onto this manifold, and then we'll delete these runners and try and remodel them, go in the opposite direction. One. With the new collector, I won't have to hold it together with hose clamps anymore because well, you can see I've actually put these holes in it here, if you can get a shot at that. And they go through to somewhere I can put bolts in and actually bolt this collector to the runners so it can't move anymore. Wow, this actually feels like, almost like going through a soft iron. Like a, you know, like a iron block material. It's actually like harder, more dense than I was imagining. Look at that. What happens when we send a bolt into it? Who would have thought it? Thread tapping plastic. That's brilliant. So the way I had it just before was these runners were going forward and then wrapping around. Now we got to try and make them go backwards and wrap around instead. So this one's definitely gonna have to start off a really tight bend. Something like this. Come out and then up, yeah.